What is going on, everybody? Welcome. We're on the eve of PGA Championship Night One, or on the eve of Round One, I should say, and excited for this one. We're gonna go over today. We're gonna talk a little bit. I've been doing a lot of looking into some picks and things going on for the event, and I've been doing a little research, hearing from some people about what's going on and things like that. So that's been nice to hear. Also been hearing from some of my fellow coaches that are there, what they're seeing with the course and things like that. So have been looking into it and seeing some things that are going on. So we're going to go through some picks. Before I do that, make sure, just disclaimer, I'm not a professional gambler. You gamble responsibly, all that. If you like to do that, I like to go on FanDuel. That's my favorite sports book that I use for the ease. Plus, I like the contests and stuff they have. You can do stuff for free, all of that. So if you want to try to take advantage of that, make sure you do that. But yeah, going to have a good tournament as we go. So let's talk a little bit about, before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about the golf course and some of the big storylines. So obviously the biggest one is Tiger's coming back. Probably second biggest is Phil's not defending, which is a bummer. I mean, I honestly don't think Phil would contend too much at this golf course anyway. But it's not fun when Phil's not playing. He is a positive thing for the game of golf, I think, overall. Although he says some things that are not necessary, and he really just shoots himself in the foot sometimes. So you just don't need to do that. But as we go through, Tiger obviously being healthier is huge. It's going to be warmer. It's going to be in the 90s, and that's going to be good if you got any types of joint things or anything like that. Warm and more humidity there. It's probably going to help him stay a little bit looser, and it'll be a little bit easier for him. Sounds like he's been doing a lot of work at home, and so that's also another good thing that I like to hear as we're going through is, all right, hey Tiger, what do you have going on? What are you doing, and how are we going to do things? So that's another good thing that I think he's doing as he's working on getting better. So we're excited about that. The golf course, too, it's a fantastic golf course. All you hear is ranting and raving about it, how great this course is. Many players have said it's their favorite course they ever will play. This golf course is a 7,500-yard golf course. It's 400 yards longer than it was in 2007. It plays on Bermuda grass through the fairways and roughs. And then the greens are actually bent grass, which is a little bit unusual for, I guess, if at a really, really high-end club, it's not that unusual. Bent grass in heat takes a ton of work to keep alive, so you have to have the resources necessary. It's a great surface. Most people like it better than what you normally get in like the South, and like Florida, Arizona, Texas, is you get Bermuda, because that handles the heat better. So they're going to have bent grass greens, and that's because they have a cooling and heating system under the greens. So they actually will keep the greens cool, according to the director of golf. They're going to keep them cool, and they'll keep them a little bit on the slower side because they are so slopey, and they don't want them to get out of control and get where things are getting really, really crazy. So that brings a little bit of more people in play, I think. If they were putting on Bermuda, there's certain people that just do not play well on Bermuda as we go. So we got our beer here that we're going to be talking about. So it's one of those things that you kind of have to look at who would be favored in these conditions. I think it doesn't really favor anybody as far as the grass type goes. Now, the thing that's going to be interesting is, because the golf course is playing longer at 7,500 yards, things that you're going to want to look for, and things I'm prioritizing when I'm looking at who would I like to see do well and who would I pick for things. I'm prioritizing, iron players have typically been the past winners. Tiger, Retief for the last two. In the senior majors, it's also great iron players. So that's typically been it. But this golf course is longer now. When Tiger won in 2007, he was hitting a lot of stinger 2-irons around the course. I don't think he's going to be able to do that now because of the length. He's going to have to hit driver, and he's going to have to hit it in play. The other thing is, it's going to be very windy, especially in round 1 and possibly round 2. Tiger's traditionally not a great wind player. I think he just lets it bother him too much. So that makes me think Tiger's not the greatest pick to go with. Although in my heart, that's my heartstring pick, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But they're going to be heavily favored. I think. I think those are going to be people you want to look for. So people that have won on tough golf courses. In the majors, we rarely see some random person come to the top. It's usually people that have won and won previously. So I would be looking for people like that. And and again, just kind of tough guys as you're going through. So let's start going through. So if we're kind of looking at that and then looking at iron play and driving as kind of our two kind of 1A, 1B factors. The other thing that happens from what you're hearing is if you do hit the ball in the rough is not super thin or super thick. It's actually a little bit thin. And what happens when you get that in Bermuda rough is you get a lot of jumpers. And so what happens is you either have to hit a bunker to get the ball to stop, or you have to see the ball roll over the green. Like it's going to roll, and it's apparently very tough to get the ball into up and down places where you could feasibly get up and down. So it sounds like normally you would think, all right, short game is going to be super important, but if you can't put it in good spots, if it's very difficult to do that, that might be a tough thing to deal with is your short game. So just something we would have to think about as we're going through and looking through it. So when we go through it, your favorites are actually your two top favorites are Rahm and Scheffler. John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler at plus 1,200. I do love Scotty Scheffler, even though it's the odds at plus 1,200. I do love him. He's a great iron player. This is his favorite golf course. Your third guy is going to be Rory at 1,600. I do not like him to win. I think he can drive it good enough, but I don't think he has a good enough iron game to play. I don't think he controls the golf ball well enough, and then he also is just not good enough putter. I think to win, I don't see that happening. He's a great driver of the ball, but even that can get away from him a little bit. You got Jordan Spieth coming in fourth at plus 1,700 with Justin Thomas as well, plus 1,700. Spieth I do like as a pick, but some of these guys that are a little lower, I probably would take them before I would take Spieth. And Thomas, I like Thomas. He's a great iron player, but he's just been a little cool with the putter of late, and I think he doesn't have the confidence to make some. So I wouldn't be looking at him. A popular pick is Cam Smith at plus 2,100. I don't think he drives the ball well enough. Is the one issue I have with that. He is not. When we look at his strokes gained, and you're not going to see him kind of up there and driving or anything. One of the guys you will see is Hideki Matsuyama, who is got a good price, I think, at plus 2,200. So that's a pick I like to win. I also like if you kind of start moving our way down. Dustin Johnson's not in form. Victor Hovland, I don't think has a good enough short game. Cam Smith's 28 in strokes game, so he's not too far off as far as he goes with off the tee. So that's not a bad pick. I think it's a pretty common one. But we start getting down. I actually like two guys I like. I really like Will Zalatoris at 3,700. He's a great ball striker. His putting is a little iffy, but he does know he's very, very good at course strategy. That's why we've seen him play pretty good in majors so far. I think he understands how to move the golf ball around a tough golf course. He works with Scott Fawcett from Decade that I think really can help him. So that's a pick that I really do like. I also like Max Homa. And he comes in, he's at 27th strokes gained off the tee. He has really improved his driving of the golf ball. He's also coming in on good form. He has a good short game, but he is a phenomenal iron player. Again, it's going to kind of come down to the putter a little bit. And another guy that's pretty sneaky, some of the guys that are coming from overseas, again, that I like that have played in like the wind. Hideki, he's up there. He's got good odds, like I said. He's ninth in strokes gained off the tee. I do like somebody like Matt Fitzpatrick as like a little sleeper pick at 48 plus 4,800. And then also like somebody like Shane Lowry. Let's see where he's falling in here for his odds. 3,200. That's pretty good for a guy that really strikes it well. And again, he knows how to play in the wind. He played in tough conditions at the Masters. He's played in tough conditions before, and he's played very well. So I do like him as a pick as possible dark horse winner. And then another one is Brooks Koepka at 4,800. You get him at a good price because he's not playing so good, but also, as we've learned, his motivation isn't there in in non-major events, and he does strike it really well, and he can get really, really hot with the putter. The pick that I kind of like from the heartstring, Tiger plus 8,500, so $100 winning you 8,500. That's pretty sweet odds, but again, I mean that's just a heart pick as we go, and then we start working our way down. Guys that you could look at. I've seen a lot of people on Keegan Bradley. Again, I don't know if he doesn't drive it good enough for me. He can hit some shots and stuff, but I think he's just a little too wild with the driver as he goes. And another guy that could be sneaky, he's coming in not on form, could be Patrick Reed, which would be. I know everybody would go nuts if he won, but plus 12,000. He has a great short game, and then he has a great mentality. Usually, he can get a little hot with the driver, but he hasn't been on form, so I probably won't pick him. But that's somebody possibly if you're looking for a long shot. And then another one, and it's actually been kind of a common pick if you're looking for a super dark horse to win. Plus 16,000, Luke List. He actually drives it pretty darn good. So he can get it going, keep it in play, but he hits it very long, and he has won before, but it's just a matter of getting him kind of going and getting him, used to the moment, I guess, as he goes. So that would just kind of depend on what you're looking at there and what you would like. So again, if I had to put down two names, the two names I would have to go with, I'm actually going to go with Zalatoris. And I would actually kind of go, I mean, the heartstrings also would say Jordan Spieth, but I would like to go with somebody like Shane Lowry as my other pick as I'm going through. And that would be something I would look at going forward. So that's probably where you're going to see me put a little bit of money going forward. So the other thing we're going to look at is, let's look at a couple other bets that you can do. I want to look at some top 10 and top 20 bets. So I think these can be some good ones. This is where I would actually like to take Rory at plus 125. Rory is a backdoor top 10 machine. He's very good at barely making the cut, and then he plays good on the weekend and gets into that top 10. Somebody like Morikawa, that's kind of flying under the radar. I think I could see him playing good, 140, great driver of the ball, great ball striker. If you don't like Spieth to win, I think Spieth will contend at plus 155. And then, a lot of the names I already mentioned. The big thing is I like somebody like Cameron Young, who is at plus 480. I think that's a great pick. Homa at plus 550, I think is another great pick in this category. And then as we go through, I kind of like somebody like Abraham Answer, who maybe not the longest hitter, but he can grind. And if there is somebody that's going to have a short game, it's that guy. So he can play very, very well. So that's somebody else I like in that kind of top 10 category as we're going forward. Now, top 20, again, you can use any of those names that we talked about, but, we could throw in somebody like Victor Hovland, plus 125. Matt Fitzpatrick's plus 160. Again, I like him even as a dark horse maybe to win. Cameron Young, plus 210. Keegan Bradley is at plus 260. I think that's a good value as a pick as well. And we can even throw somebody in like Harold Varner III at plus 380. I think he's had some form this year, and he's been doing good. I think if it's going to be me, I actually like somebody like Luke List at plus 430. You can get Fowler at plus 430,